Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Unapologetically Wild with Katie. Me. I'm so excited to talk to you about something really big today. It has been a bit of a journey with this. I didn't realize that this was part of my purpose or my journey until literally this week. Now, it is wild that through my breakthrough and my breakdown, which if you listen to last week's episode, you'll get to be with all of that and understand emotions and how they're totally normal and totally okay and everyone has them. So, please love yourself and have compassion with yourself in all of that. And now I want to talk about something that we don't fucking talk about. Taboo topics for veterans, women in any sort of, you could be even first responder, it could be anything, right? Like police, anything. I'm sure you can all relate to a degree. And this is about women, the conversations we don't have as women. And I, on the weekend, had the most incredible conversations with 3 beautiful women. And so, actually 4, one on the phone as well. And it was just really interesting going through this transition period, right? Because so many things we don't actually talk about in this transition period. And so this is for women who are in as well. Like, I really don't think I think you're still part of this conversation, because I know you're still part of this conversation, because it doesn't matter if you're trying to get in or out or what the goal is, right? You could honestly be a serve forever. This is about leadership, and this is about living in a box, right? And this is about the fact that we don't talk about our service ever. How many women, I'm going to ask you this question. How many women do you know that talk about their service? Whether they've left, whether they're in their service, all the things, right? How many of you talk about it? To your friends, to people who aren't in? How many of you feel fucking weird talking about it? Like it feels uncomfortable and you shouldn't talk about it? How many of you even, and this is something that I did, especially when I was in, it's kind of almost embarrassing. I used to not wear my uniform outside. People, when I lived in my old house, one day I wore my uniform home for, I think I just couldn't be fucked getting changed, right? And I wore it home and someone was like, "Are you in the army?" And I was like, yes, I am. And they were like, "This is fucking cool." Like, he was so excited. I'd known this guy forever. I lived there for a year at least by then. And he was like, "This is really cool. Like, you're in the army." And I was like, yes, I am in the army. And I felt super uncomfortable. And this was like why I don't wear my uniform. I don't even take that many pictures in my uniform. Actually, what I've realized is since leaving and putting up photos, I don't have that many pictures in uniform. And it's all because I never really wanted to be associated with being in the army. It was like really uncomfortable, and almost to the point where I was like, I didn't really feel, and this is the deep depths of this, so, oh gosh, here we go. I actually didn't really feel worthy or that big. My job as a clerk originally, and even as a PDI, that my service was valued. If I'm going to be real, I see all these men out there, and kudos to them. Like they've gone and done it, right? Like we just haven't done it. And they're putting out books and they're talking about their service and they're like using it as a platform to help them in business. And I'm not saying women aren't doing this, because there probably are some women, I maybe just don't follow them, right? There could be women out there and you might know some. And if you do, please comment their name below. Tell me about them. I'd love to connect with them. But who truly talk about their service. I mean, like, not just like maybe the shit things that have happened or not like the good things, but like the sacrifice as a woman and how different it is for men and women, right? I'm not a man. I can't really speak to men's experiences. I'm only going to speak to mine. And so I want to be a voice for this, and I didn't realize that this was my fucking purpose until recently. To literally having a conversation with a friend when we were talking about transitioning, and she's in, right? She's not looking to transition anytime soon. And I was talking about, those moments when you do work so hard to get something, right? And then all of a sudden it's put down because you're a woman and you're in the army. Some man comes over and says, "Oh, you only got it because you're a woman." You're like, fuck, man, I worked so hard for that. You know what I mean? We're always trying to prove ourselves double time. that we're worthy of the position, that we're worthy of being promoted. Yet, and this isn't always the case, but recently, because it became a thing for women in defense, which made it worse, was like, you know, it was like, oh, we're going to support them and we're going to try and get more women in higher positions. I get the theory. I get it. What happened in practice was that a lot of men would just turn around and be like, oh, you only got it because you're a woman. That was an easy cop-out for them. And we'd have to work double as hard to get there. We'd have to fucking do more, be more, suppress more. How many emotions have you suppressed over your period because you can't get angry because you're a bitch? You can't get sad because you're emotional and then you can't do your job. Apparently you can't lead when you're emotional. Men apparently have no emotions. They can yell and scream and it's totally fine. I know you hear me in this. And if you don't, see you later. This is a big conversation. And I want to have it with the women who truly are ready to hear it. Because, and look, there'll be some men that have experienced this too, right? It's not really gender specific, but it actually is. For the fact that I'm a woman and this is what I experienced, right? And so I was speaking to a lot of friends about this, and then they leave the military. So I have some friends I spoke to on the weekend who have left. And then the other thing with that is like they've left and they've almost just not even talked about their service. They don't even bring it up. It's like it never happened. Because it's not like something that they feel super secure in talking about. Or they have breakdowns about their identity or their next thing or all of this, but they don't talk about it with anyone because why would they? Who's going to hear them in it? Who's going to understand them in it? You know? And then you have women who are going through the process in different ways. And we are going through breakdowns and breakthroughs or breakdowns. Like, yeah, I have something to go to and a purpose, right? Not everyone has that. What's next for us? And what does service look like for us to share and celebrate? Because like I said, men are doing a great job of it. We haven't just stepped up to the plate yet. And we get to, and I can't wait because there's so many beautiful pieces that I am so excited to do just from these conversations, right? From sharing all the parts. Because the flip side to this is there are some incredible men who support women to no end, right? And they are epic. Who don't know, like they can hold a masculine and the female can be all of who we are. Because we are wild and wonderful beings. And we have gifts that men don't have. Men have gifts that we don't have. But we get to share our story. We get to share the moments where when we first joined and it was super scary and we didn't really know what we were doing and we're like, what the fuck? And now we've got to try and fit into a box that we've never fit into before. How we owned our own leadership. And to do that, we would lead by example, even if defense didn't realize that that's how they wanted us to lead. If we didn't fit the mold of their leadership, we weren't confident enough. We weren't, this is my story, we weren't, you know, what they wanted. We didn't fit the mold. Leadership is not about fitting any mold. There are so many different types of leadership. And this is the interesting part about it, is like, we journeyed and became resilient as fuck in places where we shouldn't have been. We have, you know, copped shit for so long for being a woman. Not only in the military, but let's be honest, society as well. You know, a woman does something great, it's in the news for a day. She fucks up, it's in the news for 6 months. And it's because she was a woman, you know? And then a man does something great. It's amazing, right? It's in the news forever. And then he does something wrong, and it's not because he was a man that he fucked up. It's just he fucked up, right? And yeah, of course he gets shit about it too. Like, let's be real. But it's not because of his gender. Oh, it was so liberating to have these conversations. It was so liberating to sit there with women and understand that we have a lot of things that we don't talk about. I put out a post today and I had a beautiful woman reply And I just said, I want us to share our stories. I want us to be able to celebrate our service. And she shared a story about how she always feels she has to prove herself, but she has to do the same amount of work plus more, and she's a single mum. Now, I don't know what that's like because I don't have any children, right? I can't understand that. But she has to be there when a kid's sick. She has to do all the drop-offs. She has to do all the things, everything that a mum does. And she's got to have a career and lead in her work. And she's pitted up against other men that don't have that. Or maybe they have a wife and children, but the wife looks after that, of course, because that's what we do as women. Or maybe they're on their own. Maybe they've got a partner, you know? And not every woman's story is like that, but we're always proving ourselves. And you can relate, maybe not even if you're in the military, but how many times have you gone above and fucking beyond to prove you are good enough for something? Because as women, here's the other point. And this was scientifically proven ages ago. I don't actually remember the exact numbers, so someone can write that down. But it was like, if we are applying for a job, we as women will only apply for it if we're 90% qualified for it, right? Men will apply for it if they're 60% qualified. They don't give a fuck. They just go for it. They have that ability to do the thing and just be like, fuck it. If I'm meant to get it, I get it. And I love them for that. But also we then don't do that. And then we wonder why we don't get jobs or we get paid less. And I'm not saying that doesn't also mean we get paid less in other ways, because the military is very different. I don't understand that fully, and I'm not going to go into the pay gap, because in the military we all get paid the same. So that is actually irrelevant for us. But what we don't get is always the same opportunities. We don't always get treated the same. Some of us go through sexual assault while in the military. Sometimes men believe that our vulnerability is something that they can have fun with. We'll just fix it through me taking you into a room and, having my way with you. Lucky I walked out of that situation. That never happened fully. But here's the kicker. We don't talk about any of it. I know I've had some epic experiences where I've worked with incredible men who have given me opportunities that I would never get in my life. I've worked with special forces men who have actually given me the opportunity to lead AIS athletes. And I was the only woman and the only non-SF human leading these groups. But they believed that I had leadership skills that were amazing and that I was perfect for the job. I didn't even believe I was perfect for the job at the time. This is another piece. And they believed in me so much so that my group performed the best. The first one, we were terrible. We were terrible. I remember I was like, holy fuck, why am I here? How do they believe in me so much? And then I sat with a group of these very high performing individuals and I was like, okay, let's think about this. I apologize because I fucked up. So I immediately told them, I fucked up with some of the calls I made. And this is why. And I gave them the whole spiel. And then they were like, also we're super vulnerable and open. What did that do? Open the door for us all to be real and own our shit and be responsible as leaders. And I never knew that these were my gifts, right? I didn't have any idea until these men showed me that these were my gifts. So this is the flip side. There are so many beautiful parts of our service where we're honored as well. And I really want to go into this story because it's so beautiful and I've never actually told it before. And I think it really needs to be honored in this space because they showed me that I was a leader and that I could do anything no matter what my job was. And the skills I had and have are so incredible that they get to be honored no matter what I do. Because I was a clerk then. And I wasn't, a special human. And honestly, they are incredible. What they do is out of this world. And we also get to be honored for our incredible gifts, even though we're not the elite. Right? And they showed me that. And it was so beautiful because at the end, they had to get up and do these speeches, the athletes. And I had to stop myself right now at the same moment from crying because it was such a beautiful moment. And they just were so in awe of me as a leader in that moment. And it was so beautiful. And I wouldn't have been there without these men believing in me and without these athletes opening up to being okay to have someone who wasn't what they thought they were getting, right? And we did so well. We beat the other teams. We were amazing, right? And it shows that leadership is not always the same. There's so many nuances to it. You can do it so many different ways. And no matter what your position is, you lead people around you every day. You lead your life every day. You lead your family every day. And you get to choose how you do that and how you show up for that. And it can be scary. I remember the first thing I said to these AIS kids is when I got to the table, when they introduced all the mentors, and I was like, I'm not an SF operator. I'm a clerk. As we do as women, we have to put ourselves down. And I think this was, just moments where I then got to see how great I was at the end and how adaptable I am as a leader. And I think the beautiful part is when they came over to me at the end, they're like, see, we told you. They knew. They could see it. And they even put me up for an award, which was beautiful, which I ended up winning for New South Wales, not all of Australia in defence, but for New South Wales. These guys had never put up awards in the general outside defence force. So it was beautiful to be honoured as well. And so this is the thing, when you're in a high-performing areas with high-performing people, they can see you. And when you're not, they sometimes don't see you. And that's okay. But it's you who has to see you. And that's what comes in even deeper, is the more you see yourself, the more you lead your life, the more you are with what you actually get to be with, the more you attract these beautiful opportunities. And I was so blessed to be in that opportunity. And then I transferred from there to become a PDI, and I deployed with them as well. So epic posting. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. But there's so many nuances to serving. There's so many pieces we don't talk about. There's so many pieces we get to honor. And leadership is one of them. And you may not see yourself as a leader, but you are every day. I even got reminded in one of these conversations of when I went and led pre-recruits 7 weeks to get them to where they got to go. And you're not only leading the psychosocial of them, but you're leading their fitness, everything, right? Their mental health, their understanding of running is, like when you get out of breath, it's not an anxiety attack. It's normal, like it's okay. When you do a push-up, your chest will hurt. Your muscles will be sore. You'll get DOMS. All of these things that took me back to the beginning, back to the basics of fitness, health, the mindset work. I didn't realize this was leading me to my business. I didn't realize all these skills that I already had and was continuously developing was going to help me lead my life to where I am today. So through this, all of it, and this has been a lot already, but I'm not done. There's so much we get to honor as women and so much we get to share. And I would love for you to share your experience. I'd love for you to share anything, a celebration, how it was like when you got deployed, how lonely that is, how much you go through missing your family, how much you learn and things that happen, good and bad. And this is the journey of leadership. And this is the journey of your life is we get to look at how the military shapes our resilience, how it brings us to a life where we're always going to serve in whatever capacity that looks like when we transition. But we need to have these tough conversations. We need to talk about the breakdowns and what that means and what it's like for us. And we need to be real and raw and vulnerable as fuck. Because if we want people to understand what we go through, we need to tell people about it. And we're not good at it. In the military, we're also taught not to talk about it because it could affect your career. You may not get deployed. You may not get promoted if you're not okay. If you express yourself, you may be seen as not okay, even though you're actually okay. But you really just needed to tell someone to fuck off. And that's okay. We don't get taught how to actually regulate our emotions so that we don't fly off the handle. We don't get taught what a regulated nervous system is. We don't even get taught what a nervous system is and how to even work with it, which is crazy because we literally need to know that every day. We're always on alert. We're always waiting for a call because we're always on duty. Even when you're on leave, you could be on duty. You might still get a message from someone. That is also something I really want to talk into and something that we need to change in the Defence Force. And I think some people are actually doing this because I have heard of people doing it. But a lot of people still message after hours. No. Unless it's urgent, that is people's sacred space for them to wind down and spend time with their families and allow themselves to actually not think about work. Because this is the thing. In the military too, we're constantly on. And then if you keep messaging people out of hours, you're keeping them constantly on. That affects the sleep, it affects your health, it affects everything, right? And so even if you take leave, if somebody still messages you about a work thing, you're back at work. Even if it's the weekend and you're hanging out with your kids and someone has a work question, you're still at work. There's so many nuances to this. We get to set boundaries. We get to also honor what we need. And we get to do things that are outside of the box because we don't have to always be in the box. One of my biggest things starting my business was so I actually got to do things outside the box. I still actually really struggled to admit I was in the military, even on social media, especially. I had a reel that went viral that I became a meme. So I stopped posting about being in defense. That's where I'm saying we're not sharing our story. We're too scared to. What if someone says something mean to us? What if someone pulls us down? Trust me, I know. I've had it happen. I had friends too scared to tell me I'd become a meme. I didn't know. And then when I did, I cried for hours. But I've had enough. I've decided that I want to be the voice for women to talk about this. And that's another reason why I wanted this retreat. So excited for it because I'm ready to show you how you already lead your life and actually do it with purpose and intention and understand how important and valuable you already are and worthy you already are. So we don't have to keep proving ourselves. We know how fucking innately worthy we already are. Imagine walking around defense with that magnetism. I did it while I'm still on leave, but I did it while I was at work towards the end a lot more when I started to understand this. And fuck, I magnetized so many epic jobs. The Samoa trip I went on, they were like, oh, we've got positions for reservists to do that. Would you like to do that? Fuck yeah. I got offered positions of other things, right? So many job opportunities and different things from people I'd work with in defense. You know, men, women, all the things. Because they thought of me. I've had great leaders, shit leaders. I've been a great leader. I've been a shit leader. And the biggest piece with all of this is looking after yourself. And it's the biggest piece that defense doesn't fucking look at. We run ourselves into the ground. We burn ourselves out in every aspect just to keep up. When really, if we started looking after ourselves and understanding how we lead and who we are and actually honoring all of that in our magnetism, fuck, life would be easier. If we started sharing our stories and made it normal and knew that we were all the same and we all had these thoughts and everything was literally so normal, it's crazy. And we talk to each other about it and we could share and we could, you know, be there to support each other and love each other and hold each other in this. Can you imagine how the world would change, how the defense would change, how whether you're in, whether you're out, whether you're reservist, whatever your journey is, how much would this change the culture? If we share these stories with the world, how much will this change how we show up and how the world sees us? It's scary. I get it. And I'm going to go first and share more about this. I put on my story this morning and a couple of women were like, fuck yes, keep sharing. And I was like, okay, I've opened the door. This is my purpose. This is the reason I'm on this earth. This is my soul given purpose, is to help high performing women, military women, maybe you're in the police force and you resonate, maybe you're in the ambulance, maybe you're first responder. Maybe you're in those things and you don't resonate, which is totally fine too. But I'm here to support you in looking after you and leading your life moving forward in all of it, with defense or without. Because you still get to lead your life even when you're in there. I literally did it. And so much happened for me. I was so much more supported. I got all these opportunities and I wasn't working any harder. Actually, I was working a lot less. But I was more in alignment and I was looking after myself. So I was actually magnetizing things to me instead of pushing to get them, proving. I was no longer in that proving energy. We get to have it all. We are fucking amazing as women. We get to have it all and we get to have all these conversations. And I'm going to keep sharing these conversations the more I get to have them with women as well. Because the more we talk about it, the better it'll be. So I would love for you to share your story, anything else, any topics you'd love me to chat about in the comments. I want to fucking know all of it. Because I'm here to open the can of worms, open the box, talk about the taboo shit. And even if it's something that I spoke about but I didn't really go into on this podcast, write it in the comments. DM me about it so we can talk about it more. Because I want to shed light on things to help women understand more about what they're going through and to know they're supported and they're not alone. I love you. I hope you have the most amazing day. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, comment, share with anyone else who you think this would resonate with. And let me know of any things that come up for you so I can serve you in sharing more or helping you or doing anything that you need in this time. If you're interested in the retreat, I would fucking love to have you. And I would absolutely froth being able to share the experience of life with you. So have the most wonderful day. Go and be unapologetically wild. I love you and I will see you next week.